I guess like the thing that I would love to be able to, if they were willing to pick the mind of Yamato and Dragon Kids have seen the highs and the lows of the U.S. Indies. Like, did you think that it might be something that's like, oh, I remember when we had like 2,000 people in Chicago Ridge for the first time I was here, and now I'm at this former casino. Okay.
Well, he's seen it all. I mean, he worked WCW. He was on some of the very first Ring of Honor, Dragon Gate shows. He was, the staple of Dragon Gate USA the first year. Dragon Kid is as interesting of a guy to talk to about Dragon Gate in America as anybody, with maybe the exception of Shima, because think about when they went to the UK, Dragon Kid was on all those shows. He was on the Open the Spain Gate show. He was on the Open the German Gate show. He's been everywhere. And it kind of goes to my point that I made, I think it was last week, where we really just have to re-examine Dragon Kid historically and the value that he's brought to wrestling.
Yeah, I think it's something that you see like Shoe Pro or like the directories that come out, and I don't think that it's something that has like crossed over as much how influential Dragon Kid is as a wrestler, especially natively in Japan. And that's something that, for international or Western facing Hall of Fames, I think that that's something that kind of gets missed just because of the cultural differences and like the differences in public and private life in wrestling in Japan versus America. But it's one of those things. Dragon Kid might be the most, with the exception of Shima, might be the most influential wrestler ever come out of Dragon Gate, like bar none.
The Joshis love him, right?
He's the one that, like, almost to a person in the Stardom locker room at a time, I don't know if it's necessarily as much the case anymore, but it was the case 2 or 3 years ago, that almost to a person, like Mayu Iwatani down, they say, like, how did you get into wrestling? It's like, oh, Dragon Gate came to my hometown and I saw Dragon Kid, and Dragon Kid became my favorite wrestler.
Well, where are the Joshi perverts to talk about Dragon Kid? I gotta waste all this time talking about Stardom Cork in attendance. Can we at least talk about the Dragon Kid influence, something interesting?
Oh, it's almost like, I know Azumi, also Dragon Kid. Hazuki, interestingly enough, was Kelly was her favorite wrestler.
That was one that's awesome.
That was something that whenever I was like, that's based. There's nothing to change there. But
that's the same energy as Shimizu's favorite wrestler being Kevin Nash.
Exactly. But it's something about Dragon Kid that I really hope that, like, it somehow gets imparted, like, just like the influence, like, and that's not to mention the Dragon Rana. That's not to mention Bible, like the moves that kind of, in a lot of ways, revolutionized wrestling. And I mean, even within like the Observer Awards, the Dragon Rana won Move of the Year like the most before the Meltzer Driver became a thing. Like Dragon Rana won like 2 or 3 years in a row.
Yeah, it's almost longevity almost has done him a disservice when you.
Yes.
Let's have the conversation of it. Let's frame it as the 100 greatest wrestlers of all time, because you and I, Mike, it's been 3 years since we started having those conversations, and we're coming up on 2026, which I know people want to do another greatest wrestler ever poll then, but. I highlighted Dragon Kid's longevity not too long ago, but when I think about it now. Okay, his best match was September of 2002. So we're at 21 years since his peak, and he's been just as good ever since. But I don't think you can point to a match in the 2010s. I mean, I have a Dragon Kid match at 5 stars from 2011, but if somebody asked you, hey, Mike, what's the Dragon Kid match from the 2010s, what are you going to say?
I would say go find the 5-year-old version of 33106.
5-year-old version of 33106. What's that?
Oh, I'm saying that you go find and watch the match that's 5 years old and say.
Oh, I gotcha. I was like, wait, did they do that match in 2011? Because I would want to see that, but no, shit, they should have.
Sorry, my joke failed there.
No, that's okay. That was my mind went crazy for a second. I was like, wait, did they do that rematch in Japan and I didn't know about it? Because I would say. Shima and Ricochet versus Pac and Dragon Kid from World 2011. I think that's one of the very best tag matches of all time. But that's a tag match, and people's eyes are going to be pulled towards Shima, and then obviously what Pac and Ricochet do there. I don't know if I just saw that the account that has the bogus Kota Ibushi quotes, they they posted a GIF of Dragon Kid and Ricochet from 2011, that Bravegate match, 2012, I think. I was like, oh yeah, that match is really good. I wish more people would watch that, because then I think they would get Dragon Kid a little bit more. And even that match is 10 years old. And again, it's not like he's got periods of his career where there's just nothing there. Every year it's a 4.5-star match here and a 4.25-star match here, but he doesn't have that defying match post 2006, the six man. It just hasn't been there the last 15 years. And now that almost works against him from a longevity argument.
Yeah, and it's something where I think actually like that this is the barrier working against it, because when I think about wrestlers that would most appeal at least to like internationalize, and at least how I perceive international wrestling as being consumed more and more, Dragon Kid's the flashy one. Dragon Kid's the one that like you have the Dragon Rana. You even have him taking the world liner. Like there's a lot of stuff there that's like very compact, very gifable, very music video like, but it's just not there. And it was not like during a time period where Dragon Gate and the barrier between Dragon Gate and Japan internationally was sadly at some of the most opaque times of it. So I wonder if that's also at play at all, because I look at him and I go like, oh God, you put together like clips from 2010s matches only, and you probably have one of the most outstanding wrestling music videos this side of, I don't know, the Kota Ibushi Crazy Diamond one. Like you could do that. It's just that there's that barrier, I feel like.